Well, Josh was brought up by my record company friend. I'd always intended to use Terry Date because he became friends with me on our last record with Slayer. But as time went on, we decided the less pieces of Slayer we took, the better for us, and I agree. So Gerardo introduced me to Josh Wilbur. We had dinner one night. I didn't think we were gonna work together because my time frame didn't work with his. And then like 2 days later, he called back and said, okay, I cleared my schedule, let's do this. So from that point on, it was guns fucking blazing. The more we worked together, the more we became friends. If we had lunch break, we'd go out to lunch together. If me and Paul were in the room where he was doing drums and I'd play guitar along with him, they have glass to where you can see in the control room. And if Paul would pull off some miraculous fucking shit out of his ass like he does all the time, I just turn and look in the fucking control room and they're all moshing in the corner, and that's when it was just a good environment, and we became friends, and he's a wizard at recording and obviously a fan because he would be moshing in that fucking corner. So it was just good times. Oh fuck, dude. Josh would be looking to fix something and he's like, hang on a second. And he's just going back and forth, and seriously, like I can't even keep up. And he's like, how's this? And he would play it and I'm like, I don't even know where you are. He would jump around so quick and he would fix it and it would be fucking spot on. And I'm like, you're just gonna have to tell me where you are because I can't follow what the fuck you're doing. I've heard from not only friends, journalists, people I'm doing interviews with, that they like this better as a whole than any single record I've done in my career. It's hard for me to say that because I've been a part of all that stuff, but good friends are really fired up about this record that wouldn't blow sunshine up my ass, And journalists I've known for a long, long time, but we're not just acquaintances. They're friends of mine that I don't get to see because of the pandemic, and now things are getting fired up. I'm gonna see all my journalist friends again, but people are talking this record up really big, and they've all heard the whole thing, of course, because they're doing interviews about it. So they have backup to their story, but I've heard people are really stoked about this record. I like this record a lot. I like Repentless a lot, but I think the performance of everybody is better on this one. I won't become a victim. Well, first and foremost, it was never supposed to bear my name. It just kind of fell into place. We worked for months. We worked for years trying to come up with a fucking name that worked, that wasn't taken, wasn't used by some other company that made a trademark or conflict of interest. And it was time for some of our first shows to be announced, and we had to roll with something, so we had this logo. Somebody said, just call it Kerry King. Everybody knows who you are, everybody knows what you're about. That being said, the pressure didn't really hit because everything was done and recorded before we ever got to Kerry King. It was an afterthought, and we had nowhere to go, and everybody loved the logo, so insert my name. Yeah, I didn't want to. I've already had questions about somebody asking me, is this going to be a touring band for this album, and then the next album you put another band together, which I thought was the oddest question I've been asked in a long time. And I'm like, no, I want this to be a band from day one. I want it to be a band. We're all, about the same age, and hopefully we all decide when time is to retire that we all agree on it. So, we can stick together for 3 records, 4 records, 5 records. Depends how fast we put stuff together. Depends how fast touring cycles go. But my intention is for this to be the band from now until the day this band's done. I like to let artists be artists, and I like to let producers be producers. My art is making music. I can't draw to save my life. So, as we spoke about earlier, I like to make lyrics that give you visuals. And I like to give those lyrics to artists that might be making album art, album covers, so they can make an interpretation off what I wrote and give me something that I probably never would have even described. So I like to let the artist be the artist. And through the record company, we got in touch with Marcello, a guy down in South America who's worked with us in the past, and he gave us what became the album cover. I've used Mode 4s since I had my Marshall Mode 4s since I had my signature head made, and I've used that signature head with Mode 4s ever since. Pedals we talked about. It was I think I used the Zach Wah Crybaby, and I think I used the Zach Wild Overdrive too on this. No real reason other than he's a good friend of mine, so I like to have his shit on my stage too. 2203 KK head, so that would be my signature head, and no, I use them straight out of the box. I think the Overlord guitars came out really cool. It's reminiscent of a guitar I used in the past, but the curves and points, it just, when you look at it, to me it says metal. So I'm looking forward, like we've done some photo sessions with it, gonna be jumping into videos with it. I'm anxious to see what it looks like on me in motion. But as far as playing in the studio, it's great. Business as usual. The Dean guys in the Dean factory are very meticulous in sending out products that they're just top notch. They don't if it's not perfect, it won't go out. So I'm never worried about being able to perform on it because everything's done right. Just because I changed guitar companies, I thought if I could change anything else, that's one thing I would be interested in changing, because I think the Sustainiacs are more reliable, and I think the Sustainiacs are more readily available, so I don't gotta wait for it. I wanted to take that part out. So the Sustainiacs worked well for me. I used it on the last 4 to 6 weeks of the Slayer run, so already tried and true. I don't think I relied on that kind of thing as much as I may have in the past. In my history, I think I've come to realize where it works and where it's too much and where it's just not getting across the point I'm trying to make. So I can probably think of one hand, maybe 4 or 5 instances I use it on this new record. The heads I used on this were the Marshall Kerry King signature heads. I don't think I ever ran 2 at a time. We just didn't have a massive setup, how sometimes in the past we've done. I think we had one head through 2 cabinets. And then for leads, we ran a different head through 2 cabinets, just to get different sounds. For Phil's rhythm, I would play different guitar, different head, so we get some kind of sense of different sounds. Now, the only pedals I use, basically for leads, is the wah and the overdrive, and I think I used wah on all of it. The day I did leads, I did 18 leads in a day, so I was definitely brain dead that day. And thinking back, I don't think there's any I don't have the wah on, but regardless, for leads I used the wah and overdrive.